Casey George Blevins. Hey, Mansfield. I'm back with She Shreds with Rasan, and I am here with a very special guest today, somebody who holds a very special place in my heart, and I will explain that here in a little bit. But we have Raoul Dude, Casey Blevins, and he has a single out that is really, really awesome. I typically, talk about hard rock and heavy metal, but Casey is a nephew of mine. He's family. And on top of that, this song, GPS, it's really cool. So it's got a beat to it that I'm already playing over in my head. I had to have him on and talk about his new single. So Casey, tell us a little bit about what got you started with creating GPS.
Well, I guess really backtracking is to how I get started in music in general. I guess I don't do hard rock and heavy metal, but that was definitely like the kind of music I cut my teeth on as far as listening to music, and even the kind of music I started out as writing was mostly like hard rock stuff. I just got so into music that I started branching out more and more, and one thing led to another, and now I'm making like indie pop music. So this one was more of my imagining of like, I was like, what would it sound like if Harry Styles was on a Mac Miller song, basically, and then just using more of my like funkier and jazzier influences in the instrumental portion. I had someone play this song on like a live stream on TikTok, and they said, I feel like the vocals don't belong on this type of music. And I was like, well, that's kind of, I think, perfect, because that means it's a little different, but
together very well.
I definitely was tuning into like a more like funky, jazzy hip hop vibe on this, with a little bit of like, I guess you could call Harry Styles adult pop at this point. He's in his 30s now, and he's writing some more adult content. So I think you can call that like adult contemporary now, right?
You could call it all kinds of different things because, he's kind of changed his music up a little bit too over
Yeah.
the years. So
There's
do
some
you want to
definite
tell us
prints.
like what got you into music? I know that you started at a young age.
Honestly, I started playing guitar because a couple of my cousins used to have guitars, and every time we would go over there for Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever, they would be playing, and I thought, oh, that's cool. But what really, really made me want to like actually learn to play the guitar and therefore music was the Sweet Child of Mine music video, Slash. Like, I remember the first time seeing that so vividly, and I thought Slash was so cool, and I wanted to be him so bad. And so that's really what got me into it. Was my two cousins played, and then I saw Slash, and I was like, this is what I was like, I want to learn to play guitar like that.
And he really is. He's still very inspirational. So I know he's got
He's
millions
kind
of
of
people that wish
prolific.
they could have his skill and his talent. He's one of a kind for sure.
Yeah, I still love Slash's music, and he seems like a pretty humble rock star too, which I
Very much.
appreciate.
Yeah, I agree. He really is. And he still looks so damn good. The older he ages,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like he looks the same as he did when they first started out. So he's got good genes.
Yeah.
So tell us, what was the production like for you? Did you do this all on your own?
Yeah, so all of the music that I have like recorded and released, except for like some live stuff that I have out, it's all just like me in like a room, just
Okay.
working. Yeah, just so for this track in particular, I live tracked all the instruments except drums, because I live in an apartment complex, so I can't be tracking live drums. So I programmed those, no samples or anything. I try not to sample. If I want to like sample something, I just kind of learn to just play it on my own and sample it that way. And then put my own twist on it. But yeah, so everything was written, performed, recorded by me, other than the drums.
It's impressive. So how long did it take you?
This was a song I started writing A couple years ago.
Really?
I started writing, I mean, I sat down for a couple hours one day, tracked out like this basic idea and forgot about it for 2 years. But I but I was, like, going through some of my old songs, I think, like, a month or 2 ago now, and I found that, and I was like, "Oh, there's, like, the bones for a good song here," so I think I finished it then and within a week from that of just, like, working on that in between, like, doing actual work stuff, so it's not like I was fully, like, grinding on this song and it took me I'd say maybe total of, like, 8 hours to take it from the sketch to, like, the final thing, and most of that was just the mixing and trying to get the mix to sound, like, professional.
Okay. Well, I'm really impressed because, I mean, just with all of the different sounds that you have in there, I would have guessed that it would have taken somebody, just an individual doing it by themselves a while. So, I mean, that speaks to just your talent and your skill.
Yeah, when I get locked in and in that flow state, it's surprisingly easy to get from point A to point B, and then most of it's just editing from there and taking stuff away. It's kind of like just spewing out as many ideas as I can and then subtracting. And then every now and then it'll like a new sound will pop out and then I'll just kind of add something small in. And really what takes the most time is vocals. I really hate tracking vocals, even though it's like one of my favorite parts of a song is the vocals. But it's
You
just
hard
me.
on yourself when it comes to vocals.
Because I was originally like a singer. I was like a choir kid and all of that, and
That's right. I remember we thought it was cool back in the day when we could see on the local TV station when they would have the high school choirs on, and we would always be looking
yeah.
at Casey.
Shout out to Miss Arnold, my
Hey,
choir
music
teacher.
teachers, they definitely have an impact. You just never know.
I mean, yeah, she was like a me huge person to inspire me to keep doing music. So yeah, Miss Arnold was my choir teacher from high school was definitely a big inspiration.
To hear that. They definitely deserve recognition. We just, locally, one of our, choir teachers, Mr. Bogner, he was recognized. They had an event for him because, a lot of students he's always reached out to through the years and would give them birthday cards. He just has one of those memories where he can remember everybody's birthdays, so but it was really neat just to see the support that came out, for a choir teacher who put in all the work throughout the years with generations. Yeah, so with this song, how would you describe it as far as in the song?
Well, it's definitely like a love song. The song was written when I first started dating my current partner, and now I live with her in New York City. So it kind of seemed fitting that I would. So I started the song in Mansfield, and then so it
Okay.
seemed fitting that I would then finish the song in New York. And I've kept saying like I really want like a New York song, and I was like I want to at least finish recording a song in New York and release one because we'll probably move back to Ohio before long, and I wanted to be able to
Really?
release that. Yeah,
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, we'll have to talk later about that too.
but so this one and I've been really into for the past couple years city pop, which is a type of like Japanese pop music from that was real big in like the 70s and 80s and it was all just about like the urban cityscape and it's like kind of that cool funky synthy sound that I'm using in the track and I was like, "Oh, this is kind of perfect. I can use like." So there's a lot of New York City imagery in like the branding and the marketing for the song. So it's
I
really
noticed
like
that.
my New York song.
Okay. I love it. I noticed the branding and just the imagery that you had. It was beautiful.
Yeah, it's a lot of like I kind of took this like tourist kind of angle like small town guy in a big city kind of vibe. Like even the merch that I produced for it is kind of like a souvenir you would buy when you were like visiting a city. So
Okay. Well, I'm definitely gonna purchase some merch, and it's gonna go up on my wall here, my music wall that I've started. Right now, I just have, all of the high profile famous bands and singers, but I'm gonna start adding to it as I do more, episodes. We're gonna put a
Nice.
local touch to it too.
Cool.
So, small hometown guy in a big city. Do you still feel like that now that you've been in New York for a couple years?
Honestly, it's funny that that's kind of the feeling of the song because in a way I've kind of never really felt like that here. I kind of feel like I hit it and fit in pretty quickly and it's
I
just felt
think
like a
too
natural
that
fit.
when you yeah, and when you get in bigger cities, you meet other people too that have the same background.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do meet people that started out in smaller hometown and, end up in a bigger city.
And the place we're at, we live in Brooklyn actually. Where we live is actually I keep saying it's like it's Mansfield by way of New York because it's actually like kind of a decently quiet family neighborhood. There's even a lot of like beautiful big Victorian homes like you would find in like downtown Mansfield on like Park Ave, but they're very well upkept and like people actively like live in all these homes. So it's actually like very similar to like it just feels like a bigger small town where we're at. But then like you can travel into Manhattan, but even again in Mansfield terms it takes us about an hour to get to Manhattan. So it's just like
Okay,
going to Columbus or Cleveland from
right.
Mansfield, but it's
So,
nice and we like it.
do you have any other songs, tucked away that you will end up working on?
Yeah, I actually have one that I started writing in New York, which is actually again a much different vibe than GPS. I just have found that I like too much music to stick to one sound. So this one that I'm working on is a little more like Joe, like Joe Keery's music project, the dude from Stranger Things. So it sounds a little bit more like that, or like a little like maybe Flaming Lips, Talking Heads type of vibe. Where so it's another little curveball,
Yeah, that definitely sounds interesting. So,
but that's all so far.
what is it if somebody were to say, like, what would you want your audience to take away from your music? What would that be? If it could just be one thing.
I would say that like if you want to do it you can like do all of the things myself. I started out doing all the things myself out of like necessity because I couldn't like afford to pay people to like mix and master my tracks or like do the design on the album art or for merch, and I didn't have like access to a lot of like recording studios or things like that. And so I was just like, well then I guess I'm just gonna learn to do it all. And I think the biggest thing that I want people to take away from it is that like you don't always have to wait for all of like the perfect tools to pop up. You can actually do a lot on your own these days. So I mean, that's why I'm trying to really emphasize with this release that like I did all of this like alone in a bedroom basically. So you can do whatever you set your mind to.
You really can. I know, like, in my generation, we didn't have anything, close to what is available now, and not even thinking of social media, just the tools. And
Mhm.
so a lot of the things that you can do on your own and well, the apps, I guess, are social media driven. Um, you had to actually go somewhere, go to another place to be creative and get
Mhm.
your music out there. So
Yeah.
people still found a way to do it, but, again, there's always that struggle.
Yeah, and there were a lot fewer bands,
Yes.
lot fewer
Yeah.
people because the
Nobody was
barrier
self
to entry was so high.
around.
Like no one want, and like I think of just people recording demos on 4 tracks and like making it work that way. But even then, it's like if you wanted to go much further, you really had to grind and like get your demo out to people so that you could get somebody to give you money to go record in a studio. Like
Right.
now you can fully make, produce, and market your music from the comfort of your own home. So like it's a much
That's
different ball game.
so cool. It does kind of I think it can monopolize the music industry in some ways that are not always good. because then, a lot of people, they're just able to do it. We've got the tools and the technology
Uh-huh.
to do it. Back in the day, it was, yeah, you recorded your own tape and it had to go into the hands physically of somebody.
Yeah.
And it was their call if they were going to listen to it and pass it on. So
Yep.
these days, you can put anything out there and it's out there for anybody to see.
You can force yourself in through a lot more doors now.
Yes, for sure. Definitely. Other musical what other musical influences would you
Oh,
say that you
man.
have from just,
I've
let's say, from when you started playing music, and what were the musical influences then compared to influences now?
so when I first started, I was really into I'll just list a few bands that I was really into when I was first listening to music. So there's Guns N' Roses, I mentioned that. Nirvana was actually the band that inspired me to like songwrite. So like Slash inspired me to start playing guitar. Nirvana was what got me into songwriting. And then Alice in Chains and Pantera. So like I would say is like probably like my early high school, like late middle school top four would have been Guns N' Roses, Nirvana, Alice in Chains, and Pantera. And then somewhere in high school, I got really into Jeff Buckley. And that was what really opened up my world as far as like music that I was listening to. And then nowadays, it's like Prince, Elton John, Tyler the Creator. I already mentioned Mac Miller and Harry Styles. And then there's like a lot of I mentioned city pop, like lot of city pop artists. And then I also really like a lot of like pop girlies. So like Sabrina Carpenter, Chappell Roan, Charlie XCX, Halsey. So
Yeah, those
my
are all good.
musical tastes have just kind of exploded. And then there's all the like obscure artists whose like songs I listen to, but I don't really like know their names or things very well because like it's hard to know every name now.
It is. I know. Yeah. I know what you're saying. I mean, you're talking to somebody who's in their 40s, and I have to write Post-it notes to myself all the time, so I can appreciate that. So tell us, with the plans, if you eventually move back to Ohio, then do you feel that you would come out with the song that you have that you've started there in New York?
I'd actually like to try and get that done a little sooner. I'm kind of trying to focus on just releasing single songs more. In the past, I've done more like project-based things. I dropped a couple EPs and like a full album. But it's
Yeah, I
hard to
was looking.
capture people's attention for a full
I
album.
saw that. What was it? Lampoon?
Yeah, Ohio Lampoon was a single from one of my EPs.
Okay.
But now I'm shifting to focus more on just releasing individual songs because it's easier to get people to go and listen to one song than it is to get them to like sit through an album.
Cool.
So hopefully that's within the next year.
Right. Well, as you know, time flies by, so
Yeah.
I'll be looking forward to hearing what else you put out too.
Yeah, I hope to really like get into some more experimental stuff. I've been listening to some more of like these hard rock from when I was like first getting into music, and I'm like maybe I want to do another hard rock song.
Got my heart
so
right there. Oh my God.
I
Yeah.
might do one. I
I
did
feel
a
like
little more of a kind of Rolling Stonesy version of my song Mr. Mayor that I released a couple years ago that is
I like
kind
that
of in
song.
that territory. So I might
What is
do something
yeah,
again
can you
like
tell us
that.
a little bit of what is behind your Mr. Mayor?
So that one came about because I used to go out to Martinis on Main and Clubhouse downtown a lot. And one night I like got on this whole thing about how I found out how much because it was Thieker was the mayor at the time, and I found out how much money he made per year, and I was like, well shit, I'll be the mayor for that. And I like went on this whole rant about how I would be the mayor and I would like donate most of my income back to the city because it's like I don't need all that money to be the mayor. And so from then on, every time I came back out to the bar, like they just started calling me, it's the mayor, there's the mayor. And so I wrote this song from this And this kind of the character that I was playing for this EP and this project was this like self-loathing, like just burnt out pop star. And so the whole basis of the song is like, you're a burnt out pop star. Like I think like the chorus goes, you got the tuning wrong, but you're singing at the top of your lungs. You can write a catchy song, but you can't get anybody to sing along. So it's just kind of like playing into this character of like a miserable, self-loathing wannabe pop star. And so that's kind of how it came about. It's like a real tongue-in-cheek, kind of like sarcastic kind of vibe to it. And
Something that
then
kind of took on its own life.
yeah, it was like my take on like a Father John Misty type of song. And then I did it live and it kind of felt more like a Rolling Stones song. And so I was like, what if I just re recorded it like it was like this Rolling Stones 60s kind of raucous rock and roll tune? And so there's two versions of Mr. Mayor. One's acoustic with like a harmonica.
Did you
And
get
then
to perform this live anywhere?
yeah, I got to do not the updated version, but I got to do the original version when I did Richland Source After Hours a few years ago.
Oh, that's right. I remember you were doing that. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Very
and so
cool.
that live version kind of inspired the rework.
Okay. Yeah, I listened to it and I thought that was pretty creative. Let's
Thank
see
you.
what else. There's another question I was going to ask you and it just left me when you were talking about that. Shoot. Age. All right. Well, oh, so one thing that I did want to put out there too. So everybody, Casey holds a special place in my heart. And it's not just because he's my nephew, but also he held on to a drum set that his uncle had previously. And after he had passed away, Casey, just knowing in his heart that his niece would probably want to have that drum set to use, held on to it. And within, what was it, maybe a year or so after he
Yeah,
passed, I messaged you. I was like, hey, she wants that drum set. You still have it? And you're like, it's Michaela, isn't it? Yes. But I
yep.
thought that was really sweet and, very heartfelt, and I will never be able to thank you enough for that.
Yeah, I mean, I just knew, I just knew that Uncle Brian would have been turning over in his grave if he'd have known that we got rid of that kit. So I was like, I either have to hold on to it for me, or like one of these girls is gonna want it.
Somebody's gonna use it, damn it. It's
I
yeah,
like
definitely
almost
put to good
argued
use.
to keep it. So,
Yeah, it's put to good use. It's set up downstairs and, she's she goes on there, she's a beast on it, so
but I'm
thank you
glad
very much for doing that.
maybe I can get her to record some drums for me someday.
That would be cool. Yeah. I know what I was gonna ask. My question, I was gonna ask you if you had any, Saturday Night Live influences
Oh,
towards any
big
of your
time.
music.
Yeah. Ohio Lampoon was inspired by the National Lampoon like biopic they did, like the Futile and Stupid Gesture. It was like fully inspired by National Lampoon. So yeah.
Very cool. All right. So, hey guys, just one thing before we get ready to go. If you have a kid that is, needing something to do or they're interested in music, help them with that. Let them shine, enroll them in music lessons, let them join the high school band. Find things that you can buy for them at home or even online. But music, it can definitely save lives. It helps develop in so many ways, but that's just something that I hold dear to my heart, and that's something that I always wanna share with my audience.
And just to tag on to that, for me personally, writing music was such a good, like, has been such a good emotional outlet for me, like, during some of, like, the hardest points in my life. And it's a very healthy way to process emotions. So, like, it's good for mental health. Like, music is good for mental health. So, like, if you've got a kid that wants to do music, like, definitely help them do that because it's gonna help them in so many ways.
Definitely. 1000% agree. Okay, Mansfield, well, you've heard it. This is She Shreds with Rasan with Raoul Dude, and you'll get to hear and see some of his, music, especially with GPS. Take a listen, and Casey, you've got this out where? It's Spotify, YouTube, Apple.
Yeah, it's on all streaming platforms, and it's also on Bandcamp if you wanna buy anything. And then I also sell merch through it's called richfieldtradingco.com. So I have merch for sale there.
Okay.
So I've got the whole gamut going.
Right.
But
Well,
for
we'll put all sure
streaming
to put
it's
all the
everywhere.
all right. Well, thanks so much, Casey, for taking the time to talk with us, and
Thanks
we
for
will
having
talk to
me.
you soon. This is She Shreds with Rasan, and remember, keep it loud. Peace out.
Check this out. Yeah. Girl, send your location. I'm sliding in and it ain't shit, nah, it ain't sin. You behaving, turn the phone off, take the world out the equation. I'm in your temple and I'm seeking salvation. Everyday shit on my knees praying. Speaking tongues, nothing ever lost in translation. I see you shuddering and just only been one night and damn girl, we meshing like the body of Christ, untainted perfection. No stressing. One call and I'm heading your direction. 'Cause I'm on it if you want it. Just send me your location. I got that GPS. When you got it like you got it, damn, that's some motivation. You got that GPS. Heading toward your location. Could only reach you in a spaceship. Hey, it ain't shit. Been in training. 0 G's floating around, calling to the station. You bring me to the ground when we conversating. Cause my head in the clouds. Breathing vapor and I hate coming down. But when I got you around, the atmosphere is aptly cleared in half a year. You grab my spirit and we meshing like sipping on a cold crab beer, so refreshing. No stressing, it ain't my way if it ain't your direction. 'Cause I'm on it if you want it. Just send me your location. I got that GPS. When you got it like you got it, damn, that's some motivation. You got that GPS. 'Cause I'm on it if you want it. Just send me your location. I got that GPS. When you got it like you got it, damn, that's some motivation. You got that GPS. 'Cause I'm on it if you want it. Just send me your location. I got that GPS. When you got it like you got it, damn, that's some motivation. You got that GPS. 'Cause I'm on it if you want it. Just send me your location. I got that GPS. When you got it like you got it, damn, that's some motivation. You got that GPS.